Done. So I wanted this mottled background for me Beetroot, but I haven't got any, and I went online and had a quick look. The cheap ones, well, they were pretty cheap, but I should imagine they are cheap and wouldn't last that long at all. So I thought, well, how hard can it be to make my own mottled background? I first thought of a chalkboard and then rubbing some chalk on it. In fact, I went online and looked at chalkboards and see what they look like once they got. You remember at school where the teacher used to rub all the stuff off, or usually your graffiti with penises drawn on and stuff. I thought maybe that. I thought to myself, why don't I try some spray paint? So I went up the cheap shop, and these only cost me £2.50 each. I got a white one and a black one. And as soon as I started putting the spray onto the board, it started to come together, and I thought, wow, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And this is a matte paint, this one. So just start off with the black, go around it. Don't worry about your work, mate, that'll be all right. Like so, and then I went over the top with the white one very lightly, like so. More in the middle than the edges. Now you can see it's starting to take shape, and then I started adding my textures around the edges, making it dark around the edges and in the middle. You can see what I'm doing here. And if I needed a little bit more white, chuck it on. Until you get the look that you're looking for. Took me a while. And that should be all right. And you can see how it comes out, and it just gives a little bit of texture to any small backgrounds. You know, we're not talking about portraits and stuff, we're talking about small desktop photography, maybe stuff for eBay or whatever you want to do. But in my particular case, I want to take photographs of that beetroot. I didn't want a black background, I didn't want a white background, I wanted something with a little bit of definition in it, and this was the next step that I come up with. So that's all right, actually I might even use that for some Lego men or something. And this is the one that I made yesterday specifically for this bunch of beetroot here that I'm about to take photographs of. You can see it's quite a larger board, so it's ideal for this sort of photography. Just place it on there. Underneath I've got a box which is just raising it slightly so I can come down on it. So this is pretty simple photography. I've got my beetroot sitting there, I've got this large window behind me that's shining some nice soft light onto the beetroot. The sun's over that way, so it's nice soft light coming through. And all I need to do is just do some light metering, measure my bellows extension on this large format camera, and take a couple of photographs. I'm going to take two. I'm going to take one with just the window light, and then the second photograph I'm going to take using a little bit of fill on the other side just to fill it in. So I can put two slides inside, or two sheets of film on one slide in my large format camera. So take one shot, flip it over, take the other, develop and see how they come out. And this is the large format camera that I'm using, and on this I've got a Nikon 105mm lens on here. This is an Intrepid 4x5 camera. Got my cable release ready to take the photographs. So I've just put two sheets of Ilford FP4 into my film holder. So that's for my two exposures that I'm going to do. That's in there nice. I've already set my focus in with the sheet over my head. That got quite hot. So I'm going to use my incident meter to do some readings. I'm not going to point it towards the window. I'm not going to point it towards the camera. I'm going to go in between and point it back towards myself here. And it's given me a reading of f22.5 at 2 seconds. But I've got bellows extensions to take into factor as well. So I'm going to use my tape measure here, my Taylor's tape measure. From the back of the lens, I'll go to where the film sits, and it says 160mm. So I'll put that into my phone app. So my lens is 105mm, my bellows extension is 160mm. So it's saying to me that I need to allow 1 1/3 or one stop and a third exposure. So overexpose what my meter reading says by 1 stop and a third. So I'll set my shutter speed to 2 seconds and my aperture 22.5 metre. I need to allow stop and a third, so I'm just going to come down to f16. So what I need to do now is take the slide out, cock the shutter and take the shot. Done. And this last one, I'll take exactly the same shot, but I'm going to just throw some fill in on the other side. Turn my plate round. That back one's exposed, the front one is about to get exposed. Cock the shutter. Come over this side, grab my fill, and I'm just looking. It's hard to do it with the video camera in the way. I'm just looking to please myself where I'm happy with the light on the other side. That looks about right. Take the shot. Done. So that's it. That's my 2 sheets exposed. One has got window light on one side and the other one has got window light with a bit of fill on the other side. All I need to do now is go in the darkroom and develop these 2 sheets of film. I'm going to develop these in Ilford's Ilford HC. I've been playing around with that developer recently and hopefully they'll come out. It's only 8 minutes. I'm going to go one part to 31, sorry, for 8 minutes on this film. So I'll get on with that now. I'll show you results. So that one came out really nice. I was really happy with the way that that window light and the other one come out. You can see what the fill did, just a little tiny bit of fill on the other side. I think looked a lot better. But I've just loaded another 2 sheets into the film holder. This time I'm going to do a triple exposure. What I've got here is a little tiny video light. It's only tiny. I'm going to light one side, come around the top and then go around the side, but each time do an exposure. I'm not used to doing double or triple exposures. It's something that I'm starting to venture into just for my own sanity, you know, see how it all works out for me. First of all, I've got to close the blind in here. I don't want any stray light coming through. So now we're dark in the room. Now my way of thinking is if I'm going to do a triple exposure, each exposure is going to add more light to the image. So maybe I'll have to stop down on each exposure. Let's see how it works out. I'm going to take a meter reading straight at the light. Dark slide out. I've allowed for billows here on this meter reading, so let's do the first shot with light hitting this side. Okay, now bring the light at the back, which will light the back of the board and the tops of those little stalks, whatever they're called. Very carefully cock the shutter, the camera hasn't moved. Second and last one is going to be over the other side of it. About there will do. I'm expecting to get shadows on this one as well because the light's not as soft. Okay, that's done. So all I did was metered my exposure against the light and I dropped a couple of stops off that reading for each photograph. So I'm going to do the same thing again, this time only come 1 stop under and see what happens there. The last one was 2 stops under, so first exposure, I've got to be careful not to jog the camera, there you go. Third exposure, done. Oh well, so they come out underexposed, didn't they? Let's try it again. So this is my 5th and 6th sheet of film now, playing around with this. This time I've taken my metered exposure, I'm going to go 1 stop over, and then I'm going to do another one with 2 stops over and see how it works. Right, here we go again. So on the left is the triple exposed and on the right is the window light with the reflector, and I'm literally torn between the two, which one I like best. I'll probably decide when I can get back in the darkroom without being barbecued. I like the window light because it is softer around the shadows, but I do like the triple exposure lit area at the top of the frame, which is lighting the background. And if you notice, the images are flipped because I took a DSLR scan of these negatives and had the emulsion side facing the lens to stop any reflection onto the gloss side. I could have flipped them for the video, but I actually like them the way they are. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I hope this video gives anyone interested some inspiration in making backgrounds for your own photography. Cheers!